Hello YouTube, how's it going? So this video is, I really don't want to call it a rant, but it really kind of is a rant. And hopefully you can hear me, because the last time I filmed a video with my mic on, the video I couldn't post, it was so crappy. So I ended up having to redo it. And that's the last video where I was sitting in the truck with the truck off. So people don't seem to understand why freedom is important. Why the founders did not want government meddling in our everyday business. They just don't understand, because history isn't taught in such a manner that it explains freedom. When you take freedom, let's say in the healthcare, when you put government in charge of something, it now has to make decisions. And when it makes decisions which do not unite a country, but divide a country. For instance, people have religious objections to some types and maybe all types of birth control. That is a freedom that they are allowed to have in this country. So now, instead of the government not having to make decisions and encroach on people's freedoms, now that they've gotten themselves into the healthcare business, they are now going to either encroach on freedom of religion or freedom from religion. So by making healthcare a right, you take away rights. You take away the ability for the employer to decide what they're going to offer their employees due to their own convictions, or you're going to deny services to somebody who feels like it's a right for them to have those services. So when government runs something, it does not fix the problem. It creates division and creates problems. The country was founded upon freedom. Freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of self-defense, freedom of undue regulation, and freedom of personal responsibility. That's right. Being personally responsible for yourself and for your family is a freedom. Because when you're responsible for yourself and for your family, it grants you the ability to make the right decisions. If the government is ultimately responsible for you and for your kids, for their food, for their shelter, for their health care, then they make the decisions on what's provided, whether it's good or not. How many times has health things changed where they said, oh, this is good for you, oh wait, nope, that's not really that good for you? A lot. So then the government is going to be making decisions based upon the information at that time. And that can change. And maybe what they think is good isn't good for you or for your family at that time. So what I'm getting at here is healthcare is not a right. Food is not a right. Shelter is not a right. Those things are for you to be responsible for. This is where that personal responsibility comes in. But the payoff is you get to eat whatever food you want. You get to buy whatever house or live in whatever house or apartment you choose. You get to buy the healthcare insurance that fits your needs at the price that meets your budget. Not a healthcare plan that the government thinks you should have that may or may not fit your budget, or to live in a house that the government says you should live in, whether it's big enough or not, or maybe it's too big with the trend of tiny homes. So when you turn over things that you make choices about to the government isn't going to have your best interest in mind. It's going to have the collective's best interest in mind. And when the collective is not always going to be what you need, by having the freedom of personal responsibility, you're able to tailor your life and your lifestyle to your family and your needs, and choose how you're going to live, how you're going to provide, and what you're going to provide. If the government is calling the shots and saying healthcare is a right, food is a right, shelter is a right, then they get to call the shots. Then they get to tell you where you're going to live. They get to tell you what you're going to eat. They get to tell you the type of health care you're going to have. And time and time again, in the history of man, we find that the individual is best able to make the decisions for him and his family, or her and her family, far better than what a government collective can. So anyway, guys, that's just a little insight to what I feel they don't teach in school anymore, and opening people's eyes to the broader view of freedom and choice. Sometimes it's not going to be convenient. Sometimes things are going to happen. But as a whole, families and individuals are better serving the needs of their families and their lives better than trying to get that met by a government. So anyway, guys, that's my video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, and share. I think this is part of the reason that we're divided. The government has gotten their hands into so many things, and so many people rely now on the government to provide them with stability in their life, that now when one group has to pay for that stability and they're tired of paying for that stability because they have their own families to take care of, it creates problems. It creates division. And the fact that the Hollywood elites from Eminem to Jimmy Kimmel, are just so mad and have so much hatred and anger towards Trump for no good reason. Their voices are far more divisive. The things that they're saying are far more divisive than the things Trump has ever said. They're the ones creating division in this country. It used to be that we had a sense of responsibility and moral obligation and common decency. And none of that plays anymore. We do what we want when we want, and when we can't do that, we cry foul. We cry racism and bigotry, and we use all this divisive language. And it's not healthy. This is how Rome crumbles. Rome crumbles because of large government that created division. Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts and feelings on the subject. Please, like I said, like, subscribe, share this video, leave me some comments, and I will see you in the next one.